size. You spend a lot of time with woods of different kinds. And this one is definitely dead. There appears to be some kind of rot. You kind of pick at it with a knife, and it looks like it's been rotting on the inside, the kind of thing that could just snap in an instant. And so you let the party know. Tell them to be careful.
Well, he's telling us, and my guy is already about to snap himself. I leap off the horse, and I just start to attack it with both of my hand axes. And I mean, not like the horse, but the tree. Just clarify. No horses were harmed in the making of this production.
Why am I going to attack my dwarf? I'm so confused.
He's like saying this dang tree. My guy is fed up with this. My guy having a past with some sort of magical stuff. I'm not totally guys about that yet, not a party yet, but my guy's aware of the world that has some magic, some weird stuff in there, and some loopholes. So my guy just jumps out with his two hand axes, and he just goes to town on that dying tree. Yeah. I'm not going to stop until that thing is down.
Okay. As you approach it, Nebuchadnezzar, you, as a wonderful person, have dark foreboding. And as you approach the tree, it sets off all just manner of uncomfortableness within you. You definitely get a sense that something about this tree has been touched by the shadow. Undeterred, you bring up your hand axes and you slam them into the side of the tree. And on your first swing, you hear a disgusting crack of the tree as your first axe embeds itself in the trunk, and the crack that it creates immediately shoots up through the center of the tree, and the tree splits in half and almost explodes in a violent force as it crashes down around you. You and Cyrell were closest to the tree. I need you both to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh yeah, I got a 3.
Okay. Okay.
Dex saving throw. 17.
Cyrell, you see the just anger fuming inside of Nebuchadnezzar, and you instinctively take a couple steps back, which gives you good footing to jump away when the tree starts to collapse.
So really quick here, since I am mad, can this count me being in fury mode when I attack the tree, which is the equivalent to rage in this game?
Sure.
Okay, just so you know. Okay.
Yes.
You
So
get
you
passed
are
out.
in fury mode.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a furious dwarf.
So that means that any bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing damage is only half damage to me. FYI.
Good enough.
Yep. Okay, now how bad did I get hurt?
So as the tree rains down around you, you dive out of the way. You do actually manage to avoid getting hit by any of the branches. But as you,
I had a.
I know you got a 3. I know what you got.
3.
I'm not done.
Yeah. Okay. Just make it. Okay. Good.
You managed not to get hit by any of the branches, but as you kind of stand back up and you go to kind of brush the bits of bark on your axe off, you go to brush it off, and you realize that there's not actual chunks of the tree on here, but there's like a black, brackish grime on your axe. And when your hand touches it as you go brush it off, you take 4 points of shadow damage. Okay. Which is not lessened by your fury mode.
Okay.
Fortunately.
But if I'm really mad at this shadow though, I mean, you know that I'm pretty mad at shadow. You know,
really
I'll take the 4 damage.
Yeah. You also
take 4 damage of talking back to the DM.
I like that sort of damage. This is the damage that I can deal with.
Right.
That's just misery points is what that is. But it's on the DM, though. It's on the DM.
Yeah, my misery points are exceeding. No, you take a shadow point.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what does one shadow point do to me?
Currently nothing.
All right.
As
great.
they build up, once you have shadow points that exceed your total amount of wisdom, you go and suffer something based on your shadow weakness. Your points are reset -1, which is permanent. And then every time your shadow weakness gets to that wisdom modifier number and you suffer the shadow weakness effect, 1 point remains. So after the first time, you have 1 permanent point. After the second time, you have 2 permanent points. The idea being that the more often you are overcome with your shadow weakness, the more susceptible you are in the future to being overcome.
That's fair.
So you take 1 point of shadow. You can mark down your character sheet. It's at the bottom of your attribute list.
I got it.
All of you look over and you just see anger boiling inside Nebuchadnezzar's eyes. For a moment, the whites of his eyes looked like they almost went black, but they briefly sort of dissipate.
Is he just like on the ground or?
He's standing up. Yeah, he just wiped off his axes.
Yeah. So then I kick one of the logs and I just head back to my horse. I'm not going to say anything.
You okay, buddy? You need a snack? You okay? You want a snack? Okay. I
will take the snack.
I hand him a cookie.
Just gonna, gotta eat him alone there. I feel a little bit better. I feel a little better now. I just was a little. My guy had a tummy ache. You don't want to tell anybody
you
about.
You want my pipe? Calm down a little bit.
Like a toddler with a beard.
The night is looming, and you guys decide that you should probably make camp, and so you head slightly off of the path near where you felled this rotten tree. You make camp and you set it up for the night. The evening comes and goes, no worse for the wear. Not approached by any unforeseen creatures, nothing dark and foreboding overtakes you. You wake up in the morning rather quiet. You have breakfast. You have 4 days of rations left. Then you head back to the path. Pack up camp, hit the road. Cyrell, I need you to make a perception check with advantage, please.
18.
About an hour or so after you guys have packed up camp and hit the road, Cyrell, you spot up ahead a rotted tree, grayed out, covered in knots.
I go, this guy, as I say in a tree.
Cyrell says, Nebuchadnezzar, calm down.
I'm just like,
Haley, can you talk to him? And then I turned to the party. I was like, we keep seeing these trees. Do you think we're going in circles? What magic is this?
Make a wisdom check for me, Cyrell. No advantage, no disadvantage, just a wisdom check.
That's good. 17.
As you say that, you look at the tree and you recognize that it doesn't look like the tree from yesterday. It is the tree from yesterday. Every time you spotted this tree, it's been the same tree. And for the last day and a half almost, you've been looping on about the same mile of road.
Mirkwood! I tell the team, guys, oh man, it's the same tree. We're going in circles. I'm not sure if it's magic or I don't know. Nebuchadnezzar, calm down. Don't attack the tree again. Haley, you're our scout. Is there any way you can look ahead, or Edrahel, do you know? Have you heard of this stuff happening in the Mirkwood?
Haley?
I mean, I can go like ahead and try and find a different pathway. I mean, right now we're not really on a pathway. But you guys would have to sit tight so that I can come back to you guys.
I think it's worth it. I think we're just wasting time going in circles, so we need
All
to
right,
figure out
so
the way out of this.
I'm gonna roll a shadow lore check on that tree, so I can figure out the key on this. Now, because of my exhaustion, I'm rolling that at a disadvantage, which is fantastic here. So let's figure that out here. Okay, a 7.
7. You don't recall reading anything about evil magic trees in the Mirkwood.
Which is very surprising. I assume that all trees here would be an evil magic tree. That's just my assumption. Every tree is an evil magic tree here in the Mirkwood. I don't trust these trees, and now my tree trust is even lower.
Do you have a
never
gauge
trusted
for
trees. Yes.
how much you trusted trees?
Evil trees, not only trees, but evil trees.
I don't even trust the good trees, man. I don't trust any of these trees, bro. I'm gonna ask Edrahel and Haley. Well, actually, she has gone on to scout ahead. I want to ask Edrahel and I guess Cyril as well. Anyone who wants, pretty much, to just I say, look around the tree, see if you can find the heart of it, see if you can find anything. I think this thing's bloody alive, and there must be some way to kill it. And when we find it, you let me know, and I will take care of it.
Has anybody touched the tree yet?
Only Nebuchadnezzar has touched the tree. Well, actually, Cyril touched it earlier and kind of picked at it the previous day, and that's how he determined that it was rotting on the inside. Nebuchadnezzar broke the tree apart, and they're the only two that have interacted with the tree physically.
Is that the only tree that is like that, or is every tree like that?
So the rest of the trees are knotted and gnarled and twisted and corrupted. This one stands out in that its bark has gone gray, and there's no leaves, and it looks dead and withered. So it actually, even though everything looks really off, this one stands out because it's colorless and rotting.
Okay. I want to climb one of the adjacent trees.
Okay.
To see if I can follow Haley, at least with my sight, as long as I can.
Okay, so you're trying to keep an eye on Haley, so go ahead and I'll give you a perception check with advantage, because it's going to be hard to follow her the further she gets, but you're trying really hard, and you've got some altitude.
What about the exhaustion that I have?
That's just oh yeah, that'll cancel it. So just a straight roll. So at least not with disadvantage.
I also have, according to this known lands, it says that in a land that I know, the DC of my personal event tests are lowered by 2.
Good to know.
Yes.
Like it.
This is not an event test, however. The event test would be your role as guide.
Okay.
Sorry. It's not all
you
during
passed
the
the test, which is the good news. The bad news was it was the wrong test.
All right, here we go.
So that there are roles that you'll need to, there are checks that you'll need to do based on the role that you have as guide or lookout or hunter or scout. And those are the event checks that are modified by things that say event checks. So it's not everything that you do during the event, but it's the event specific role that you make. What'd you get?
So this one I add the normal numbers, like the +5 that I have in perception. Yes. 20.
20. Okay. Yeah, you don't lose sight of Haley. You're able to track her as she scouts around. So Haley, make a perception check for me, or survival, either one.
Survival.
Okay.
9. Wait, the straight roll?
Yes, you don't have anything that gives you advantage in the Mirkwood.
Okay.
9? What specifically are you looking for?
Something that would clue us towards going to city, that town that used to be, like maybe footprints or
How
remains.
long are you going to be looking?
An hour.
An hour? Okay. About 45, 50 minutes go by. Edrahel, eventually you do lose sight of her just because of how far away she ends up walking. Do you continue following her, or are you going to stick with the rest of the party?
I'm sticking with the rest of the party. Can I move in between trees to see if I can follow her as much as I can without losing sight of Nebuchadnezzar and Tyrell?
So trying to like kind of straddle the midpoint between the party and where she is, so you can see both as long as possible.
Yes.
Great. So you do that. You're able to kind of go from branch to branch, kind of going up a little bit higher into the lower part of the canopy, and maintain line of sight on everybody involved. About 45 minutes go by, Haley, and you're kind of walking around this bend in the path. And Edrahel, as she passes by a tree, she passes by the tree, and then you're expecting to see her on the other side of the tree, but you don't. She disappears. You don't know if she stopped, but you would expect her to go like this, and instead she goes, and you don't see her.
John Cena.
You can't see me.
So, Edrahel, are you going to go investigate what happened to Haley, or are you going back to the party?
I'm going back to the party.
Back to the party. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going back to the party as close as possible. And then I tell him, like, hey, I saw Haley. Well, I tell him exactly what I saw. But before that, I tell him to get away from the tree, and I want to shoot the tree with a poison arrow.
Do you shoot the tree with the poison arrow before or after telling them about Haley?
After.
Okay. So you tell them about Haley.
I tell him about Haley, I tell him to get away from the tree, and then I shoot the tree.
Sure. You use the poison arrow, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so make an attack roll.
Okay.
Don't get out one, otherwise may shoot me or Derek.
It's not an ability check, so it does not have disadvantage.
Protection.
Just to see how much damage?
Got you,
or...
bud. I'm sitting next to you.
Or just to see if I hit it?
Just make an attack roll, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
for hitting with a d20.
Oh, okay. I see. That is a complete 6.
Oh, a complete six.
It's not half
not
a 6.
part of
a partial 6.
It is not like a 5.9 or like a 6.3.
Yeah. You knock an arrow and you fire. Thankfully, the tree is somewhat large and stationary, so you do manage to hit it still.
That's good.
You kind of like hit the side of it where it's almost a glancing blow, and you're kind of embarrassed because it wasn't anywhere near where you were aiming. But go ahead and roll damage, and add the d6 of poison damage as well.
I got a whole 3. I'm sorry.
3. Yeah, not another partial number. That's good. Okay. So you see the arrow kind of glance off the side of the tree, and as it does, the crack that starts to form does the same thing that happened when Nebuchadnezzar hit the tree yesterday with his axes, and it immediately goes in and then shoots up the length of the trunk of the tree, and it splits down the middle and starts to crash to the ground. You weren't nearby, obviously. You were still up in another tree. No one was really staying next to it, especially once they saw what you were doing and they remember what happened yesterday, and the tree falls to the ground in a few pieces. You notice the same black sludge on the ground. Haley, you're investigating, trying to figure out how to get back to the path that you're taking towards the heart of the Mirkwood.
And I still check so high that I just disappeared.
You just like step into like a new dimension. You're like, what the
about
heck?
45, 50 minutes into your walk. Come around a bend and you're something looks kind of familiar, but you kind of shrug it off and you keep scouting ahead, looking for a way to get back to the party. Up ahead, the route kind of goes to the left. There's a small ridge and some large brush that's in the way. You can't see over the ridge, so you have to take the path around the ridge, and you do. And when you come around to the left, you see your group up ahead with 3 horses and a splintered tree on the ground, and you see Edrahel up in the air as you come up behind the rest of your party.
She sees me up in the air?
Yeah, you're on a tree.
Oh, okay.
So,
like lagging.
I'm like, I think
You
it's
see
lag or
Edrahel
something.
flying
I
over
think
the
you need
party.
I think that you need to reset your modem or something, bro. You got some issues, dude.
Edrahel is running in place.
He has like the T. He's like the T post, just flying around it.
Yeah. You come up after 45, 50 minutes of walking, and you don't think you ever turned around. You don't think that you came full circle, but somehow you are now behind the party.
So she comes from the opposite way where I lost track of her.
She comes from our back.
Yes.
So I rolled to see how wise my guy is at disadvantage, and I got 3. So my guy believes that this is not really the real Haley, but a doppelganger of sorts that has come up on our rear. So I immediately draw my spear. I do not attack her, but I kind of go, oh, everyone hold. I kind of hold up and kind of warn it, and kind of warn everybody that she's there.
Okay.
And I'm on guard.
Cyrell says, Nebuchadnezzar, stand down.
I
Calm
go,
down, bud.
I go, so you think that Haley, who left that way, came up and returned from our back an hour later, that this is the exact same Haley, and you can confirm that 100%.
I don't know. Why don't we give her a chance to speak?
Nebuchadnezzar, what have we been doing for the past few days? That's right, getting turned around. So it looks like I got turned around.
So let me ask you something. What did you feed me the other at the last tree?
A cookie?
Say it. Yeah, okay.
A cookie?
All right. I somewhat trust her.
The worst toddler ever.
Well, guys, I'm not exactly sure what happened. I mean, I was gone for a while, and I mean, it's not my first time in the woods, my first time in the Mirkwood, but something weird happened. I just kept walking forward. I never turned around, and then I ended up back where you guys are. So clearly we're in some kind of weird, circle, and we can't break out of it.
I believe you. Does anyone know anything about this tree? I believe is the source of our pain. We've tried to cut it down. Looks over at Nebuchadnezzar.
And it was a pretty good cut, I have to say. You have to admit, all things considered, it was one strike and that thing was gone. So, I mean, I kind of flexed a little bit.
We've tried to shoot it. He looks at Edrahel. Still no success. Anyone know anything about how we can get out of here?
So the tree is not there anymore because it exploded in a million pieces. What is left of the tree?
There's a couple pieces of the trunk below where you shot it with the arrow that are about the size of a small shield, maybe a couple feet sections. Everything above that splintered quite small, oddly small, as a matter of fact. There's a small pool of that sludge that Nebuchadnezzar wiped off of his axe the previous day, sort of littered around the remaining bits of trunk that are on the ground. Everything else is, I mean, we're talking like mulch size little pieces of the tree. It splintered fantastically for the mediocre shot that you gave it with your arrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very subpar shot. If I had
Bend down and try to poke it with my sword. I'm trying to look at him, maybe do some shadow lore, see if there's anything I can remember about what this might be.
Make a shadow lore check.
Like it. Every time when I do a shadow lore check, I always poke the thing with my sword, though. Every time.
I got it.
Oh, I didn't hear you. What'd you get?
Yeah, I just got a 6.
Oh, a 6.
A whole 6. A whole 6.
Was it a complete 6?
All right.
Okay, guys.
You try and rack your brain of anything that could explain what you're experiencing or what this tree could be or represent or what kind of power it might have. And you're not able to come up with anything that is like an aha moment. But that lingering sense of oppressive darkness is strong and gets stronger the closer that you are to this tree and its remnants.
So I'm gonna look inside of like the leftover trunk hole and see if there's anything down there, like a pit or something.
Okay. You walk over to the trunk. There's about 2 feet. So like if this is the remaining trunk of the tree and it's about a foot wide, 2 feet out from it, like a Christmas tree skirt of that sludge is on the ground. There's no way for you to get all the way to the trunk without walking through the sludge. The sludge is only like an inch deep, but if you would like to peer down into the remnants of the trunk, you will have to step into the sludge. You didn't like the way it felt on your hand the previous day.
I want to take one of my 4 poison vials that I know are the best in the world because I made them. I know they're awesome. I know they'll do the work.
Yeah.
I'm going to pour that out on the sludge and see what happens.
Interesting. How many vials are you going to pour out?
I'm gonna pull out 2. I'm gonna flip my 4. And I'm just gonna kind of look at Gabe because I know that he only got a few vials, only 2 vials. I got 4. I'm gonna pop up my caps, all smug.
You upend your 2 vials, and they fall down into the puddle of black sludge, like water pouring into oil. They kind of create a little pocket about a couple inches wide of like this greenish, clearish, cloudy goo. The edges of where it kind of pushes into the black sludge, there's a slight bubbling or fizzing of some kind. There's a little tiny puff of steam. Over a few seconds, the reaction comes to a halt and nothing else seems to happen.
Okay, can I jump over this? Can I, like a running start, jump over the 2 feet, land on the remnants of the trunk, and then look in that way?
You can certainly try, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Guys, please inspire me so I don't fall on my face. I like turn to Haley. I say, I need you to sing me a song and get me hyped up. I'm about to do something that will blow your mind. If you're the real Haley. Because I rolled again and I still got 3, so I'm not convinced.
I get out my loot, and I Joel, have you seen Road to El Dorado, the cartoon?
Yep.
When he just goes.
I kind of close my eyes. I just kind of feel the music for a little bit.
Yeah.
I just kind of take it in. I'm getting ready for it.
Like you were expecting her to sing a song, but instead she just does this awesome riff on the lute. And like you close your eyes and you're a little disappointed it isn't a song, but man, like 5 or 6 seconds in, like this is
like
a
a
good
low
song.
rider.
You kind of feel it. You kind of feel it. And you psych yourself up a little bit. And you kind of give your arms a little bit of a shake. You take your large axe off and you drop it on the ground, make yourself a little bit more spry. And
I'm ready.
a couple steps back and you go. So give me an athletics check. You have an inspiration die. Which what kind of inspiration die do you give, Haley?
A D6.
And I'm still at my disadvantage though, so we'll see what happens.
You got a D6 to add to it.
Okay. I got a complete 6. 3 and 3.
That's probably the name of this episode.
You're really feeling the song, and you're really.
I'm ready.
And you take a step back, you plant your feet, and it's 1, 2, jump. And when you jump, You clear the sludge, which is great.
Okay.
Yeah, you're excited, and you make yourself ready to land on the trunk. You jumped a little too hard, actually, and you overshoot the trunk, and you barely clear the other side of the sludge, and you end up just jumping about 4 feet horizontally. Nothing happens. You clear the sludge on both sides of the trunk and land on the other side.
So it's only 2 feet around.
Yeah, you have the trunk, and then you've got 2 feet on this side and 2 feet on this side in a circle that's encompassing the trunk, like it's spilled out of the trunk and spread along the ground.
So I collect myself.
The whole thing.
I collect myself and I turn back and I go, pretty good jump, right? So now I'll show you how that's actually done.
You start to do the calculations in your head of how to jump with exactly half that amount of strength to land on your goal. You can make another. Another.
All right. So I feel like my guy, he's centered. He's centered now. He's ready to go. He understands how to jump and he understands his limits. Well, maybe not, but he's going for it again.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm just gonna look at you, Cyril, and I'm just get ready for it, man. A 9. Oh wait, I'm my athletics to it. Sorry, wait.
Back.
Oh, a 12. A 12.
Oh. Wow.
2 times as well. 2. You know, I don't know. I'm just saying, that's pretty good.
Imagine if you still had inspiration.
I don't.
No, you're fine. So this time you're like, oh, that was just a practice run. You know, I was trying to make sure I had the, psych myself up for it. You take a couple steps back. Haley is still kind of strumming on the lute. You're still kind of feeling it. You shake off the feeling of dread at almost having touched the sludge once more. Take a step back. 1, 2, 3, hop. And this time you're able to land on the trunk like you wanted. At first, where your left foot falls, it kind of lands half on the trunk, half off. And the disparate pressure that you're pushing on the trunk shears off a section of trunk, and you almost lose your footing and fall. But you're able to kind of balance on one leg and then kind of hop a little bit and get yourself sturdy on the outside of this trunk. As you peer inside, you see the remnants of a rotted tree core. You see no kind of path or tunnel or beating black heart or pool of sludge any more than surrounds you. But you are currently standing on a trunk in the middle of the sludge. And whenever you would decide to disembark, I will need you to make an athletics check again. But you can take your time.
I'm going to take out my spear. I'm going to kind of poke and prod in the middle there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Make an investigation check for me.
All righty. Okay. Investigation. That 0 added to that roll. This is... Oh, and I'm exhausted too. Yes. Okay. Oh, a 9. A 9. A 9.
A 9. You take your spear and you kind of stab into the trunk a little bit, and you're kind of looking for anything down there that might tell you about its secrets.
Also, I turn my ear to it to see if I can hear anything down there as well.
Hear something.
Maybe I can hear its secrets.
You're jamming your spear into it, looking, listening. About 30 seconds goes by, and as you're jabbing it with your spear, you hear what's left of the trunk start to creak and crack. Now I need you to make a dexterity saving throw instead of an athletics check.
Okay, but saving throws are not at disadvantage because only ability checks. So
correct.
Alrighty, a 18.
18. As the trunk starts to collapse under your weight as you poke and prod it with your spear, you jump off. As you jump, some of your momentum is lost as the trunk sort of crumbles away under your feet, but you get just enough that you're able to clear the sludge and land outside of it. And you turn to your group and you're like, man, that was crit. And then suddenly everything goes black for all of you.
Oh. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad we live together and we die together. Wait.
You rub your eyes a little bit, and you open them, and you all are on the path, and you're walking, and you don't see the tree, and you don't actually really remember what just happened. There's some sort of a foggy haze around a bend in the path, and you see this gray tree knotted and rotten in the distance, and you get the faintest feeling of deja vu. And then you hear and that's where we're going to end today's session.